Okay.
What is your name?
Kurt Bell, and I'm an archivist at Pennsylvania State Archives. Pennsylvania started its own state archives because of years of losing valuable records from on different state agencies in the 19th century that were either lost, thrown out, or consumed by fire. So on April 14th, 1903, the General Assembly approved the creation of the Pennsylvania State Archive as the Department of Public Records under the State Library.
Hello, my name is Brett Ray. I'm an archivist here at the Pennsylvania State Archives in Midtown Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. When and why the first archives was started? 1903 is the official founding date. It was founded because the state really didn't have a collecting agency up to that point. The records were kind of scattered all over the place in various government buildings. Records are probably walking off. I know there's some old land records that we would love to have back that sort of disappeared in the time before there was an actual archive. By 1903, the Commonwealth had been in existence in one way or another for over 200 years, and it was high time that there was an official agency to oversee the valuable records of the state. The archives, some of the boxes at least, were housed in either the attic or the basement, so it wasn't the greatest, but it also wasn't the worst, because before that time there was no place to house the records. So at that point, I think anything would have been an upgrade over nothing.
By the 1920s, the collection grew pretty sizable, so that planning was underway to move the state archives from the original location, which was the Matthew Ryan building in the state capitol complex, to the new Forum building that opened in 1931. The state archives occupied that space in rooms 220 through 222 until the fall of 1964.
From the Ryan building to the Forum building because of space issues. I'm pretty sure there would have been more space in the Forum building, or the Education building as it was called at that point in time as they built it. So that would be the major factor in them moving the building at that time. The pros of moving to the Forum building would be more room. Just more room, and a brand new building too. The Education Forum building was completed 1929 or 1930, so at that point it would have been a modern upgrade from the conditions that they were in at the old Ryan building.
There was a new state archives building under construction. Land was acquired in 1957 under Governor Leader, an $11 million project. The capital release was approved in 1959. 1962, ground was broken on the new William Penn Memorial Museum and Archives, and construction was completed in the fall of 1964, at which time the state archives moved literally across the street from the Capitol over to the new archives building. And the state archive staff dedicated the new facility in October 1965. For the next nearly 60 years, we occupied our original location at 350 North Street in the old 19-story archives tower until construction of this new building. Well, the original 1964 building was officially known as the William Penn Memorial Museum and Archives. It was made of mid-century modern design and style, and was made of Alabama limestone. It was 219 feet from the ground to the top floor of the building. It could hold upwards of 85,000 cubic feet of state records. It was designed to withstand a 300-year flood, which is why it was built so high.
The old archives building, the 64 building, was originally supposed to be a 23-story tower, and it wound up being a 17-story tower, and the funding was cut and they had to take off the top 6 floors of the archives tower. But when that happened, they had gotten far enough along in the design that in the elevator cars in the 64 building, the numbering actually went up to 23 on where the numbers light up on the top of the elevator car there. And there were 6 empty buttons on the button pad in the elevator where floors 18 through 23 were supposed to be.
Historical Museum Commission had anticipated years of growth in collecting records from different state agencies, that we would be the state's official filing cabinet with a capacity of nearly 85,000 cubic feet of records. I think they built it going up rather than going out, basically to the standards of a 300-year flood. But we ended up filling up the tower in nearly 60 years at that location. But the building really was poorly suited as an archives. It was not well designed. We had leaks and floods over the years, which are not ideal. And we really didn't have true HVAC in the building.
It's a long, thin tower, and that meant that on sunny days like today, the sunlight could hit more of the building than if you built sort of like a 1-story kind of shorter, squatter building. And that, from the very start, combined with any real lack of a vapor barrier inside, really exposed the documents in the tower to temperature and especially humidity fluctuations up and down. As time went on, it got worse and worse, and that's one of the major reasons that it was decided to build a brand new archives building to have a better, safer, more secure storage facility for the records.
It was hard to find by the public. If you were to walk up to the entrance of the old state archives, it was hard to figure out where to go in the front doors. It was back behind a courtyard. The Department of General Services had to keep the grass mowed and had to keep all the trees trimmed. And we were located underneath the plaza, which often leaked water in from up above, down below. So it really was not optimal location. Plus, there was no free parking. People had to pay expensive metered parking out on the street.
There were lots of challenges. Lots of challenges just with the construction of the building, how it was constructed, with the plaza and everything else. It was, location-wise, it was great because we were right downtown, right beside the Capitol, but the actual building itself never really functioned or functioned for a very short time as a safe, viable document storage facility.
When the time came to plan a new archives, we could design it according to the best practices in the archival field. Best HVAC, best security systems, best storage space. And that's exactly what they did. This is now a 150,000 square foot facility, has 36 miles of shelving, capacity for at least 30 years of growth. Right now we moved in here about 84,500 containers from the old building, which is the equivalent to moving a 3-story house 37 times. So we have plenty of room for growth here. I think only half of the shelves are occupied at present.
The reference areas are 10 times better than they were at the old building. They're much nicer, newer. We have brand new computers, and as you can see behind me here, a nice new original records area as well. Everything here is an upgrade compared to the 64 building.
Oh boy, the future of the archives is a rosy one. We have plenty of room for growth. There's always additional state agencies whose records will end up coming here over the years. We'll be able to augment our collections with millions of more electronic records. We are building right now a digital archives, which will house a lot of electronic records that we presently can't make accessible, but we will in the near future. It'll also enable visitors to come to a very safe, visitor-friendly location Our mission is basically to preserve, collect, and make accessible the permanently valuable records of state government. So I think we'll be able to fulfill our mission very well. Here at our new location, we have plenty of free parking. We have plenty of room for researchers to come in and work. Our entrance is easily visible from any direction. So in addition to being a beautiful new building, it's probably the most cutting edge, most modern archives at present in North America.